All right, it is eSports Live on this Monday night, 9:30 Central Time, and probably the worst loss of Mike Vrabel's tenure of being Titans head coach, 41-7 at the hands of the Buffalo Bills. Injuries, ugly play, sloppy play, penalties, big mistakes, all lead to 34 unanswered points by the Buffalo Bills, and the Titans getting nothing after scoring a touchdown on the opening drive. So there's a lot to talk about. Ryan Tannehill pulled throughout the game. It looked like a preseason game there towards the end for both teams, but we are here to discuss it all and to have a therapy session here live on our Titan Game Day post-game show. I'm Austin Stanley. He's Zach Bingham, live on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. Got to give all the shout-outs to our sponsors of Titan Game Day Live. This season in the post-game show is brought to you by Buddy Allen Carpet One, always giving you a free in-home measure and estimates for any of your new flooring needs at Buddy Allen Carpet One Nashville.com. Also, thanks to the NoDat app. NoDat makes it easy to connect with local businesses and events that matter to you so you never have that FOMO fleeting feeling. Mr. Good Roof, your locally owned roofing, gutter, and window specialist. MrGoodRoof.com is where to go. Crumble Cookies, made fresh daily in over 175 flavors that rotate every week. Download the Crumble app, and while you're at it, download the BetMGM app and use our code ATOZ Sports when you do. So, Zach, as ugly as it could possibly be, I know there's a lot of big picture conversations that people are wanting to have here, but how did it just fall apart like that? I mean, when you're watching that game, when did it fall apart for you? And then we'll go into several other topics of conversation about this Titans team we watched tonight.
Well, it didn't fall apart; it crumbled. I mean, that's the word.
See what you did there. Very good. Yes,
it crumbled. You're sitting there again. The Titans get an opportunity to get the ball at the beginning of the third quarter and go down and make it a one-score game. They come out and look pitiful, and it just snowballs from there. And it was a disaster. That is kind of the best way to describe it. Embarrassing is a word that comes to mind. Just punts, muff punts, turnovers, pick sixes, and to be on prime time. It kind of felt like, the NFL didn't want to put the Titans and the Bills on. So that's why they had another game as a backup because of how poorly
and they kept promoting it. Yes.
Mike Vrabel's team showed up to Buffalo. Look, they were a 10-point underdog. So no, they were not supposed to win, but the final score should have never have been 41-7. And your starting quarterback and your best player in Derrick Henry don't even play in the fourth quarter. And that's kind of what it came to be. You possibly could have lost your left tackle. We don't know more on that as Taylor Lewan never returned after the first offensive play. Bud Dupree never came back after a hip injury, put him as questionable. Your cornerbacks played disastrous, slipping, missed coverages. Overall, it's like they didn't come to play, and the score was indicative of this. Mike Vrabel, I thought it was funny. I laughed with and I thought that the broadcast booth of Monday Night Football was god awful. It was kind of like the Titans play. But when they were talking about how Mike Vrabel was mad and angry when they met him, and Mike Vrabel was just like, that's just who I am.
Yeah.
Well, his team better be pissed off after that performance, because on national television, you went up to Buffalo with the whole world watching, and you looked awful. And so this is a tough pill to swallow, because you can't even get past the loss. You're 0-2 now, right? You kind of said that to begin the post-game show. You can't even look at like ahead of what the season represents. It's just getting your ass kicked.
In every worst possible way. I mean, I agree with you about the ESPN booth. The ESPN booth was the only thing worse than the Titans cornerbacks on the field tonight, because I'm going to say something positive real quick. The Titans defense minus the corners actually played and fought pretty hard tonight. There was a lot of third and short stops and fourth down stops, but the cornerbacks were so atrocious. And without Christian Fulton, you really are concerned about what this secondary can be, because they're Swiss cheese out there. I don't know what Trey Avery is doing. I was surprised that Trey Avery made the roster at a training camp. It didn't make any sense to me, but it didn't matter who was out there covering the Bills wide receivers. They weren't doing a good job at it at all. And it's, and somebody I just saw in a comment, as we've got a lot of people in here watching on Facebook and YouTube, and we appreciate you guys sticking through that atrocity of a second half to watch with us on a Monday night. Luckily, it was a 6:15 kickoff and not a later kickoff like normal. But, I don't know where to go here, because something really is going to have to change in big picture, but everything was bad on the back end. You see Caleb Farley looking like he has no idea on how to play the cornerback position. Trey Avery getting stumbled and his feet caught up and not knowing how to just run with a wide receiver down the field and letting Diggs blow by him. And somebody commented, when does Elijah Molden come back? Well, he's out at least 2 more games, and because he's on IR. So at least 2 more games for Elijah Molden, where he can come back at the absolute earliest against the Washington Commanders, and that's not even a guarantee. But you mentioned it as an ass kicking. It's your teeth kicked in. It's as embarrassing as it could possibly be, on the heels of getting embarrassed at home after having a 13-0 lead. And so there's nothing that you can't question right now about the Tennessee Titans and where they're at. You can question the offensive coordinator, the offensive line, the secondaries. You can question Mike Vrabel and why it's gotten like this. You question John Robinson, the GM, for how this roster is this bad.
Yeah, what happened this offseason?
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, you said it. I think the hardest part on the other side of this particular game, we know just about as much as we did in training camp, which is not very much. I don't know what this team is. I don't know if Derrick Henry is a shell of himself because of the first 2 games. I don't know if Ryan Tannehill is what I thought he was after the Bengals game, and I should just write his ass off and start to look to rebuild. I don't know who Treylon Burks is. He had some glimpses in the first half, but there's no substance to this game in quarters 3 and 4 for me to actually yield an opinion.
No.
Robert Woods showed that he's a veteran NFL player and that can get upfield at times. But again, I'm in the same boat. Austin Hooper made 1 play early and like a couple of targets, but there's nothing there. There's nothing there.
No,
there is. It's 41-7, and there's nothing there.
Yeah, this has got, and because I don't know how, and we'll get to Tannehill in a second. We'll talk about Malik Willis and Tannehill and all that too. But I can't, you're right, I can't judge Derrick Henry. This offensive line is garbage. I don't know what has happened. Aaron Brewer is in way over his head. Nate Davis is not playing very well. When Lawan went out on play number 1, Dennis Daly came in. Here's the embarrassing thing about it all, Zach. That was a terrible, putrid performance by the offensive line. And Dylan Radins didn't even get an opportunity to look bad. Like, Dylan Radins was over there on the sideline the entire time. He came in for
they already figured out he's not good enough.
But he came in for a couple like third tight end type plays. But Dylan Radins is so bad that they didn't even get him quality reps in that game. It's just, and Brandon, I just saw this comment. Hopefully I can get it before it flies away from me. But Brandon's comment, I think it's already gone because there's so many people commenting at one time. Oh, total failure of management and coaching. Like, that is beautifully put by Brandon there. So, Zach, let's go ahead and do this because tons of people watching, lots of comments flying in. Let's ask the one-word question, right? What is one word on how you feel about the Titans' loss to the Buffalo Bills? What is one word to describe how you feel about the Titans losing to the Buffalo Bills? Our post-game show this season is brought to you by our friends at Buddy Allen Carpet One. Look, they're good. They're locally owned and operated. They've been doing this for 55 years, and you don't do something as a family-owned company for 55 years and be bad at it. So you can see Zach, Jenna, and Judson Allen in the store every single day. It's on Donaldson Pike here in Nashville. Go check them out. Buddy Allen Carpet One always offers free in-home measures and estimates. A full-service flooring company like Buddy Allen Carpet One does not mean more money on you. You get experience flooring work done by Buddy Allen's professional certified installers, and you save money. It's the best of both worlds. Check them out, Buddy Allen Carpet One Nashville.com. So, Zach, I'll send you to the chat to read as many one words as you possibly can because the Titans embarrassed on Monday Night Football 41-7.
Yeah, I'm keeping scrolling. I mean, we've got a huge audience, and we thank each and every one of you guys for staying up with us and reacting. We'll try to get to as many comments as we possibly can. If you're watching on YouTube, go ahead and subscribe to our channel. We'll be reacting after we get a good night's sleep and wake up tomorrow morning at 8 a.m. And also on Facebook, as we'll try to get our road to 100,000 followers. So go ahead and follow us there. But let's go to one word. Ed says baffled. Cameron says typical. Failure from Hunter. Deja vu from Monsoon. Disaster from Max. Puke exclamation point from Michael Cleary. Soft from Mace. Mark says disgusting. Unprepared from Scott. Poo from Hammer. So Hammer's bringing down the hammer with poo. Kai says over. Done from Rick. Clowns from Cody, pathetic from Shane, emptiness from Tones, deserving from G-Man on base. Mr. Corey says over it. He throws a hyphen in. Fulton says, and this is week 2, mind you. Drained.
Long way to go.
Danny, you just got to go to one word, Danny. You can't just say that there's 4 words in that one. Sean says disappointing, slaughtered, dead inside, that he's just put in one word from BMO. Disgusting from Dustin. I mean, there's a ton of words. They all really represent the same thing. I mean, I even saw STD. Which you actually may get the love of the show. That made me laugh. There's too many comments.
It's like right now it's so bad that it's funny, right? Like in this exact moment, I truly feel like it's so bad that it's funny for the Titans right now. So Zach, I'll go ahead and tell you my one word: accountability. Who is going to be held accountable for this terrible excuse of a performance? Like, who is going to be held accountable? And I don't know, because I asked you the question earlier in right off the top of the post-game show presented by Buddy Allen Carpet One Nashville.com, is where did it all go wrong? It all went wrong, Zach, with terrible play calls by Todd Downing. That's when it crumbled.
You're talking about the 3 and out in the second quarter?
Yes. Everything about the second quarter of just god-awful decision-making by Todd Downing when there was an opportunity. The Titans defense gave them an opportunity to hang in this game. 17-7 wasn't that big of a deal because it took 4th down conversions. It took a lot of plays. The Titans defense made Josh Allen earn it in the first half. And then it just blew up. Like the dam broke because Todd Downing and his offense couldn't do anything to do anything productive after that first drive. And so who's going to be held accountable? It's got to be Todd Downing, right? Because the last 3 games the Titans have played, the Bengals, the Giants, and tonight, have all had terrible, god-awful moments by the play caller. And it makes no sense. I have zero idea why the Titans find any type of benefit in running a Derrick Henry toss play, only to lose yards. Like, what are you trying to set up? Because they've been running the Derrick Henry toss play for now like 2.5 seasons, and it hasn't worked. And they gained 7 yards on a toss play to Derrick Henry, but it was kind of a counter pitch, so it wasn't even the same thing. He gained 7 yards, and they were still negative yards on the toss throughout the game. And so I think Todd Downing needs to be held accountable here. And again, like I said last post-game show, they have the break glass in case of emergency option in Dennis Kelly, who knows how to call plays and who Mike Vrabel initially tried to hire after Arthur Smith left instead of Todd Downing, but the Texans blocked it. Guys, emergency, 0-2, offense, terrible. You can't do anything offensively. It's emergency time. Todd Downing, like, how can you sell anything moving forward for week 3 if you don't do anything and don't make a change here?
Well,
Like,
so the accountability has to come from Mike Vrabel for that. Then
yes,
it's not. So it's not Todd Downing. For if change is going to happen, Austin, if you're calling for change, then the accountability is Mike Vrabel making change.
I agree. Yeah.
So I don't think that they're at that point yet. I think it's week 2. I think they're going to chalk this up as a loss and move on. I'm just saying what I think that they're going to do.
Here, I get that. I'm not responding to what your opinion is. I'm responding to it because I don't think you're wrong. I think they're not going to do anything. They're just delaying the inevitable. They're delaying the inevitable. We've seen this with state of Tennessee football teams all too many times. They are, by not moving on from Todd Downing as the play caller, they're only delaying the inevitable because this offense will continue to sputter. Like, I truly felt like, and I texted this to Buck, I felt like when Kyle Phillips muffed that punt, that it was just another excuse of why they lost that Mike Vrabel cannot pin on Todd Downing. Like, it's like a get out of jail free card because Kyle Phillips muffed another punt.
Well, like, Kyle Phillips, like we all got on Kyle Phillips as the punt returner because from training camp to preseason, you felt really good about him back there, and he can't do it. He can't, like, you cannot trot him out there anymore. He's a liability.
No, he's a messed up kicker, right? He's got the yips, and Amani Hooker almost caught it from him. Like, it might be contagious.
So my one word is standstill because you're not moving anywhere. And I'll bring up this graphic. I'm actually glad that this is the one good thing that ESPN actually did. They pulled up this graphic, and if you just look right there, 9 plays, punt, 3 plays, punt, 3 plays, end of half, 5 plays, punt, 3 plays, punt, 2 plays, interception. They're at a standstill. They can't move the ball. And that didn't even include the pick 6 that ended Ryan Tannehill's night. So if you are at a standstill and you can't move the football to score, because on the opposite side, the Bills they're getting their best player involved, Stephon Diggs. They're running the football. They're being aggressive and going for it on 4th down. They're being strategic by the hard count, set, hut, and getting the Titans to jump off sides. They did that numerous times because they were put in position. The Titans are at a standstill. So to your point, you're asking them to maybe do something to change. I don't think that the Titans will do that just yet because they're like the Colts. It's too early in their mind. It's too early until it's too late. But the Titans are at a standstill, and their offense is atrocious. Their offense is so bad, and it's finally caught up to their ass. The Buffalo Bills, the Kansas City Chiefs, the Los Angeles Chargers, those are not running football teams. They're passing football teams. That's what this era of football is. The reason why Joe Burrow went to the Super Bowl last year and made that run because he's a passer. They throw the football. He threw them into the Super Bowl. They didn't win. The reason why Matthew Stafford and the Rams actually won is because they throw the effing football. Tom Brady throws the football. Aaron Rodgers throws the football, and he can't even make it to the Super Bowl. That is their problem. And I think Derrick Henry is an unbelievable running back. I think he is one of the best running backs in the league. He's had a terrible start to this season. But I just don't think that this is how a team is set up. And now they're in redo mode. And that's the hard part. Robert Woods is a number 2 wide receiver. Traylon Burks is a rookie. Derrick Henry, we don't know what he is. And you've got a bad offensive coordinator moving these chess pieces that aren't very good.
Yeah. Dwayne comment says Woods is terrible. And Dwayne, my comment to you is that's what you took away from this.
I actually think probably Woods is the best offense. I mean, but we don't know. You go back to that point.
That's my point is like, how can Dwayne And how is Robert Woods is terrible? What Dwayne pulls out of this entire thing and says, yeah, Robert Woods is terrible. Like, you don't know that. Nobody knows that. I feel
everybody
bad for Robert Woods. Robert Woods was in LA, 7-8 months ago, watching his teammates win a Super Bowl.
But this offense is at a standstill, Austin.
Right.
And if they don't change, they're going to be picking in the top 10. And I know this is week 2, but they have to change for their season not to be completely corrupted.
Here's all right. I have an opinion on why because there was another situation that we saw where the Titans had an empty set. I believe this was early third quarter. There was an empty set on the field where the Titans had 1st and 10. Derrick Henry and Torrey Carter were each split wide. Jeff Swaim and Austin Hooper were in the slot, and Treylon Burks was in the other slot. What the hell is that? Like, why would you split out Derrick Henry, Torrey Carter, and then have Hooper and Swaim in the slot and Treylon Burks in the other slot? Like, who's coming up with this crap? Like seriously, what do you expect to accomplish here? This offense,
look, early on in the game, this was before what the play you're talking about. They had Cody Hollister, Swaim, and Treylon Burks on the outside, and they put Derrick Henry in the shotgun with Ryan Tannehill, and I would have been like, bet MGM, I'll bet you $10,000 they're going to run this football. And what do? They ran that football. Like, it goes back to what we've always said is they cue defenses, and there's no mystery behind what they're running sometimes.
No, because like whenever your fullback and your 260-pound running back are split wide, you're not going to throw to them. So 24 Elam down at the bottom of the screen, he's just chilling. He says, I'm going to go cheat inside on the actual people who know how to catch the football, not this fullback out here. Like, what is the point of this? Like, it's just so terrible. It's like, why are you even trying to do that on 1st and 10?
They're at a standstill, man. I stick by my one word, and I am very adamant about this, is that their offense cannot move. I don't think they have the players, and they sure as hell don't have the coordinator. And that's ultimately with Harold Landry out and some of the other injuries that they've accrued on the defensive side of the ball, with Fulton not back, and they're playing with a bad Caleb Farley's looking to be a bad pick. I mean, that guy, he's not a first-round pick. He doesn't play like a first-round pick, Austin. And he is a first-round pick. But again, Derrick Henry, I don't know if this is the offense that can get you where you need to go.
No, I mean, I'm not out on Derrick Henry. I don't think
I'm
saying
not,
you are.
I'm saying this offense. I'm not saying Derrick
Well,
Henry.
it's because they're doing dumb things, Zach. Like, the coaching staff is doing dumb bleep that hurt their football team that Mike Vrabel says not to do. Like running Derrick Henry, who, by the way, I don't know if anybody realized this. Derrick Henry admitted on the set of a Heisman House commercial shoot that he weighs 260 pounds. That's what he weighs. He's listed at 247. Now, that was like 5 years ago. He's 260 plus probably. Why in the hell are you doing a toss sweep to the guy to make him go sideways backwards? Run the man downhill like he was doing the last few years to have himself on the path to be a Hall of Famer, because he was not bad at that. But when you give him like 4 toss plays that go -8, you're putting your entire team in a bad situation. And you're putting your entire team in a situation that it's not built to come back from. Like, what do we know about this team? They have to stay ahead of the sticks. They have to. So you're knowingly calling a play that's routinely losing yards to set yourself up in a bad situation. Like, again, Mike Vrabel needs to look at his own words. They're doing dumb stuff to hurt the football team. The coaches are, not the players. Like, what do you think goes through the entire huddle's mind? the third time they call the toss play in the first half. Still first half. The third time they call a toss play, when the first 2 times it went from -4 and -1. Going through their mind, like, why? What are we doing? That's what's going through their mind. What are we doing? Why? Why is this guy doing this?
Well, and to have an offensive line problem with an offense that is not being helped by their play caller, that I think also doubles down. This was a brutal game for both teams, right? With injuries. You talk about a ton of injuries just in week 2, but this is a demoralizing loss that they're going to have to saddle up, and they're going to have to change something for the rest of the course of the season, or this season is going to get out of hand. Now, here's the one positive thing that you have, and I will say this. The one positive thing that you have going for you is you are in the worst division in football. You got the Texans, who blow. Mm-hmm. The Jags are still not there. I think that they're emerging, but they're still not there. And the Colts are 0-2 with they're 1-0, 1-1. And the Titans, they are 0-2. So you have a division that we've always said, to get into the playoffs, it's only going to be about the division to host a playoff game. You now just have to turn your attention to improving. But Austin, it goes back to what you said. Mike Vrabel is going to have to do something. And it will be, I think, very telling for his coaching history as a Titans head coach on what he does.
Yeah. Something's got to change.
You can't play friends anymore. Things aren't going well.
No, something has to change. And I think we've had enough. Like, I try to be patient and get as much sample size as I can for things like this. There's plenty.
Well, it's 41-7. I mean,
no, but this is on the heels of the Giants game, on the heels of 3rd and 1 end around the Chig. It's on the heels of drawing up a play that doesn't hold the safety in the middle of the field to allow him to jump a pass. It's on the heels of running the same bubble screen you've run a dozen times out of the same formation and personnel and lead to another interception that the Bengals DB Mike Hilton knew was coming the whole time. It's on the heels of all this stuff. We've seen enough sample size. It's bad, and it's not changing. And you have, like, why did you bring Tim Kelly in? You wanted to hire Tim Kelly before you hired Todd Downing. Todd Downing was a backup hire. That's not my opinion. That's what happened. Tim Kelly was the option. The Texans said, no, you can't talk to him. So Todd Downing was elevated as tight end coach. And here
now you got both of them. And one, the guy that's calling the plays is doing a very, very bad job. And it's being recognized. Well, and here, the birds are chirping, right? The Titans, they hear the fans. They see the comments. It's social media. Somebody, a part of the Titans, is probably going to see some of these comments. It's just, it happens. People, they know. People are calling into radio shows, getting Downing out of there, right? Like, we've heard it now too much. And now with this performance on Monday night, you know what I actually thought? Really, for the first time in a long time. It was in the beginning of the 4th quarter. And I sat there and I said to myself, Amy Adams-Strunk is probably pretty embarrassed right now.
Oh.
And I hadn't thought about that in a long time. And I didn't even see that comment.
It happened simultaneously.
I literally thought Amy Adams-Strunk is embarrassed. Her football team just went up to Buffalo on prime time and lost 41-7, in which their starters got pulled before the 4th quarter. That's a major problem. But when that happens, those usually enact change. That usually is a tipping point, right? We all remember New England 59-0, right? You enact change when things like this happen. This is very early in the season, but Mike Vrabel and his coaching staff and these players are going to have to answer the tough questions over the short week that they have leading up to a home game against the Las Vegas Raiders.
And I'll say this: Amy Adams Strunk, I know for a fact, pays attention. She knows what's being said about her football team. She knows what's being talked about, and she knows the temperature of the fan base and what the media says about what's going on. And she didn't get to being where she's at without being tough and business. This is business, right? Right now, business is not good. And yeah, as the commenter said, they're trying to build a new stadium, and she's putting liquidating $700 million of her family's money and assets into that. That's the report there from the Tennessean, I believe, in Axios. So, hey, she knows what's up, and she's not scared to shake it up. She fired Mike Mularkey after he won a playoff game, right? She ain't scared. No. So what's going to happen? There's going to be a lot of
the one
clinching.
person that has to be liquidated, the scapegoat, the fall man, is Todd Downing, because that is the guy that needs to have, no longer the opportunity. I don't know when that's going to happen. I don't think it's going to be that this week. I would be shocked because of the short week.
Well, they're playing this week. His former team that he helped lose a lot of games for too.
So
the irony, Zach.
Before we get to Ryan Tannehill and kind of move along this post-game show, is there, and you know how I don't give pretty much any grace. Is there any grace because it's the Bills and they're the best team in football? Or is it more about how bad the Tennessee Titans played? So, like, if you look at what happened, 41-7, it was, 17-7 at halftime. Mm-hmm. Do you look at it and you say this is solely a Titans problem, or do you say one of the main reasons why they got embarrassed was because of the Buffalo Bills probably being the best team in the NFL this early in the season? And I'm just asking.
I kind of compare this to the loss in Green Bay in the snow. And the thing about that game is from 2 years ago, right? Sunday Night Football, week 15 maybe. That's the difference. This is week 2. There's been zero credibility or zero positives in the bank. You haven't
trust earned.
Yes, nothing. It's week 2, and you just blew it against the Giants. In week 15, when they laid a goose egg, or 16 in Green Bay in the snow, it was okay because you understood who they were. They had a bad night. Are we going to look back on this being a bad night, or are we going to look at this as in like that's where it all fell apart? It's either one of those.
It's hard, Austin. It's hard because we can't say it all fell apart because the damn thing hadn't even gotten off the ground. It hadn't even gotten started.
No, but that's where we knew that this is a sinking ship. It's either, man, that was a really bad night, because there were things that happened that were just bad. Like, how many times did they drop a punt? Ola Daney jumping off sides to then extend the drive that was right before they blew the game wide open. So there's just stupid things that happen. Like Trey Avery, who was one of the worst graded corners in all of college football for Rutgers last year, started for you tonight. Like, that's not going to happen the whole season. And so I don't think it's a bad night, and it's also not the sky is falling either. But again, like the Green Bay thing, you don't have that equity built up of 14 games in the bank of knowing who this team is. You're still figuring out who this identity is.
Well, week 2, 0-2, the Titans have a lot of explaining to do, and Mike Vrabel, has a lot of answers that he's got to have to give leading up to this Raiders game.
I'm going to guess he's not going to give many answers. That's my prediction, that Mike Vrabel will not give many answers.
Well, look, I will say this after this performance, Todd Downing's not going to last, because this team, and I'll say this team is not going to turn a corner and all of a sudden win 10 games. It just is not set up that way. I could almost guarantee that they're not going to get on the 10-game hot streak and be the best team. So they're going to go through their ups and downs. It doesn't mean that the season can't be salvaged. It's only week 2. So I'm not going crazy just after 2 games, but they're going to have to shift after this week. They're going to have to, because the Raiders Titans this week, man, you go to 0-3, you're in a whole nother hole. Like that's a hole that I don't know if you can get out of.
Yeah. No, it must win in week 3 at home against the Raiders.
And
who's
Alex
also
brings up, how crazy the schedule. You hadn't even hit murderer's row of the schedule.
Well, that's when the Titans win 3 out of 4 games ridiculously.
With previous teams, not this team.
No, for sure. A to Z Sports here live on this Monday night. Appreciate everybody. We got a ton of people in here, so thank you guys for being a part of this. But let's grade Ryan Tannehill, because look, I think Ryan Tannehill wasn't bad until he was terrible tonight. I think a lot of around Tannehill was bad. So let's go ahead and grade Ryan Tannehill. How do you grade Ryan Tannehill in his performance tonight against the Titans? I'll just run through his stats real quick, Zach. Live on the Buddy Allen Carpet One Nashville.com postgame show. Tannehill overall was 11 of 20, 117 yards, 0 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, was sacked twice, both of those in the first half, sacks, both interceptions in the second half, and the second interception, the last throw of his night, pick 6 to Matt Milano. I'll let you go to the chat to see what people are grading Tannehill at, but not good.
Yeah, not a lot of good grades. Make sure if you're watching on YouTube, you subscribe to A to Z Sports Nashville. We'll also react tomorrow morning at 8 a.m. and follow our Facebook page if you're watching there. There's a lot of, KJ says, D plus, F, F from Eric, D from Franco, F from Mr. Corey, F minus from Tony, F minus from RC, F, D minus from Fulton. I mean, we've Z from Titans.
No. Like
Trevor goes C minus. That's the highest one we've had. We've had a lot of D's. We've had a lot of F's. I haven't seen anything. Here we go. So here's a C plus. Dreamer says C. A D minus from Nick. Vinny goes. Or Vinay says C. But a lot of them are F's and D plus. How would you grade Ryan Tannehill with all the things that we saw or didn't see?
I think it's a D plus. I gave him a C plus last week, when in reality I was probably too harsh on him, because I think Tannehill played well last week. I thought he was great in the opening drive. Now, he almost threw a pick on the goal line to Poyer earlier, but he got away with it and went down and made another play. So I think what was surrounding him was bad to make him look even worse.
But that's what's surrounding him is not going to change.
No. The play caller is a big deal, because Todd Downing is what puts Ryan Tannehill in 2nd and 14. Ben Jones's face mask is what put Ryan Tannehill in 2nd and 26, because on the first down they ran a toss, and then they ran a screen, and there was a face mask. So 2nd and 26 for Ryan Tannehill. And he's like, what the hell? And he tried to get out of that. Remember, there was a 3rd and 15 that he got out of by hitting Traylon Burks on the crosser, who ran it up the sideline. And so I think D plus for Tannehill is fair. The first interception, throw is behind the receiver, tipped up 3 times and caught by a Bills safety, right? The second interception was just throw in the towel and everything you got with it. Screw this.
Well, actually, the first interception could have been a better pass by Ryan.
No, that's what I said. It was a bad throw. Like I say, it was a bad throw. It was behind the receiver, but it also got tipped up in the air like 4 times before it got caught.
Yeah, I'm just saying it should have never gotten tipped up into the air.
I agree. That's why I said the first thing was it was a bad pass. It was behind the receiver. Like, that matters in my sentence. So I'm still at the D plus. Like, the offensive line was terrible. Aaron Brewer can't hold his ground. They can't block anybody when it comes to pressure. He was running for his life and having to throw it away a lot. So I think, and then he's not getting help. So I think a D plus is where I go with.
The Tennessee Titans have given up 27 points in 2 third quarters.
Whoa.
Check that, 37. They gave up 24 and 13. That's why I don't do math on air. 37.
Well, one of them was a pick six, so you can go back to your original math and be okay.
Right? Well, the Titans in general.
Yeah.
Like that's not so. And the reason why I say that is it's 17-7 at halftime, and the Titans get the ball like they did in week 1. This is why we talked about it in our halftime show. I was like, look, they come down and score, or hell, even get a field goal. It's a 1-possession game, and you're still jabbing, right? All the if you're going to Buffalo on Monday night, you're just trying to jab. You don't have the wherewithal to throw hooks and try to knock your opponent out. You're just trying to hang around. And they were unable to do this. Look, I think it's probably a hard D for me because you have Ryan Tannehill throw the pick six that just ended his night. It ended everything. That was it. And so I think I'm going to go D.
Okay, so I was D plus, you were D. So I have it, Zach. This is the sequence of just when it all just pooped itself. Okay, so here we go. The Titans defense makes an incredible stop on that 4th down. The Titans get the ball back. Then first down play, Derrick Henry, 4 yards. Second down play, incomplete to Burks. 3rd and 6. Tannehill draws him off sides. 3rd and 1. Instead of going cutesy, quarterback sneak, first down, right? All right, sounds great. End of quarter. First play of the second quarter. Ryan Tannehill just ransacked for a loss of 8 yards. Then gained 4 yards on a 2nd and 18 run to Hassan Haskins. Happy NFL first carry. And then 3rd and 14, Tannehill hits Burks to convert for 16 yards.
That was the best play.
And then here you go. It's the second time. Toss to the left to Derrick Henry, -1 yard. 2nd and 11. Screen pass to Robert Woods for 17. Called back for a 15-yard face mask. Tannehill short right to Robert Woods. Tannehill pass short to Kyle Phillips, who basically got crunched. 4th and 17 punt. That was it. That was the sequence that ruined it. And there were just some stupid calls and play calls, and then a bad mistake by Ben Jones. And that was kind of it. The Titans never got close and never got back to it again.
So Assad, I think, has it. I think he hits the nail right on the head. It just feels like the Titans don't have the horses. Like through 2 games, that's how it feels to me. This is a reconstructed team and a reconstructed roster. And now with all of the injuries, if Bud Dupree and Taylor Lewan and Christian Fulton are all out for any more extended amount of time, you don't have the horses.
Yeah.
And so Assad, I'm with you right there. I think that is how I kind of feel after tonight, just 2 weeks into the season.
One more stat for you on that. So after that drive that I just explained, the second drive of the game for the Titans, they gained 100 yards after that second drive. That's ridiculous. The second drive of the
Who gained 100 yards?
The Titans. That's it. After their second
for the rest of the game.
For the rest of the game.
Yeah, okay, now I understand what you're saying.
Yeah, they gained 75 yards on the opening drive for a touchdown, 11 on that drive, and then 100 yards the rest of the way.
Well, the fourth quarter they were just waving the flag. They were trying to go home.
They basically waved the flag the rest of the second quarter because they gained 4 yards the rest of the second quarter.
So D Webb brings this up, and this is what the post game is for. And this is a unique show. Usually the Titans or anybody doesn't get whipped 41-7 like we saw. But D Webb brings up the NFL officiating about the Amani Hooker end zone catch that was not reviewed. So here's my personal opinion on that. I think it should have been reviewed. I don't think that it would have been overturned. I could not see video evidence that his toe actually hit the turf to stay in bounds. And then I don't know if he maintained control or if it was bobbled.
I saw video evidence of it. I'll try to find it. Twitter's kind of a madhouse right now. So I'll try to find it for tomorrow morning, or we can maybe play it or at least grab some.
But that's a big play in that game. I don't think it changes the outcome, but it's a big play.
10-7 going the other way, right?
I don't think it changes the outcome, but
again, it's 10-7 going the other way before halftime. I think it's a big deal there. All right, it is eSports here live on this show. We've talked 45 minutes of negativity. Let's do a little bit of something. This is what we call the flavor of the week, presented by Crumble Cookies. So who is a Titans player, who is a role player that you thought played well tonight? And look, there's probably not a ton of options. Last week, Dontrell Hilliard caught 2 touchdown passes for the Titans for the Crumble Cookie flavor of the week. So who is the flavor of the week? A Titans role player who you thought played well and made you excited tonight. Crumble Cookies has a rotating menu of over 175 flavors that change out weekly, and they're always made fresh daily. You can even walk in there and watch them make in their open kitchen concept their Crumble Cookies. So order Crumble Cookies in store for takeout or for delivery, curbside pickup, nationwide shipping, everything. You got them right there. Download the Crumble app on your Apple, Android, or Android phone. Just download the Crumble app. You can also do gift cards for your families as well. So Crumble Cookie flavor of the week. Zach, I'll let you start if you've got something.
I don't have one.
You got nothing?
I don't have one. There was nobody that this was an atrocious performance.
Nothing. Zero.
Malik Willis didn't play very well.
I know. It's because he's not ready yet.
Maybe Haskins.
Haskins, you thought Haskins? Let's look at his son Haskins. He had,
but it's in crap time. I can't give Crumble are good cookies. They deserve the attention. It is that flavor. But Austin, I don't have one. Do you?
I got one.
Thank the good Lord, because
it's somebody that I've been watching very closely, and I've been kind of hard on him. It's Ryan Stonehouse, man. He was pretty good tonight. He gave up some return yards, but not that much. He was better than he was a week ago, but 6 punts. The fact that they only punted 6 times tonight kind of surprises me. But 6 punts, averaged 55 yards per. He only had 1 touchback, but he nailed 2 inside the 20. So Ryan Stonehouse is getting better.
Man.
No Traylon Burks for you, Zach? 4 catches for 47 yards. Most of them early.
Again, this game turned to crap. It didn't matter, right? It was useless. So anything that they did 4 minutes into the third quarter was obsolete. I just don't it doesn't give me any value. And I value Crumble Cookies. I love Crumble Cookies.
They're really good.
And I'm not going to do that to them. So I morally cannot say that.
Oh, you know what? Danico Autry played well. He had a sack. He had a batted ball. He was all over the place. Danico Autry also played well.
Danico Autry played pretty well for a team that didn't have many players.
Again, I said this just early in the postgame show 40 minutes ago. I thought the Titans' defensive front played well. They limited Josh Allen's legs. The problem is that Trey Avery and Roger McCreary and Caleb Farley couldn't guard anybody. Oh, and then I want to leave Chris Jackson out of that too. Nobody could guard anybody downfield. But Simmons, Autry, I thought Ola had a pretty Rashad Weaver. I feel good about the Titans front. It's just when Trey Avery's allowing Stephon Diggs to run right by him for 50 yards, there's nothing that Ola Daney or Jeff Simmons or Autry can do about it.
Yeah. Woof.
And they were getting short yardage situations. So in a blowout, the Bills only ran for 100 yards. So it's not like it's they just sat on it and kept running the clock out. So, but I guess that'll do it here for our post-game show. Probably the worst loss in the Mike Vrabel era, but we do want to thank all of our sponsors for Titan Game Day Live. Appreciate everybody for watching our show today. Don't forget, as Zach has said, subscribe to our YouTube channel and like us on Facebook on your way out. But thanks again to BetMGM. Download that BetMGM app. Download the Crumble Cookie app. I think we could all use some cookies after tonight. Buddy Allen Carpet One, Nashville.com, MrGoodRoof.com, and the Nodat app. Download the Nodat app as well. The link to download that is in the description as well. And we will see you guys tomorrow morning. I know A to Z Sports.com has a lot of Titans reaction articles on the way as well, if not already out there. And so check out the website, A to Z Sports.com. And we'll see you guys tomorrow morning at 8 on these same channels. Talk to you guys later. Have a good night.